our next speaker, our next genius, is our next speaker here today is Greg Jameson. Our speaker today has been working with artificial intelligence since 1985, my friends. Think about that. 1985, decades before it made headlines and you and I even knew what it was. He's not just ahead of the curve, he built the curve. Greg Jameson has developed hundreds of e commerce websites, written 23 books, and created 100 AI tools, many of them built to help entrepreneurs like you and me scale faster and smarter. Right now, we're standing at the edge of one of the biggest shifts in business history. Experts are calling it a white collar bloodbath. 85 million jobs could vanish this year because of AI. But keep in mind, 97 million new ones will also be created. So we're not talking loss, we're talking shift. That's where today's speaker comes in. Greg works with business owners who want to use AI not to replace themselves, but to scale themselves, to multiply their impact, and stop trading time for money. He's known as your AI architect for business growth, and when you hear him speak, you'll understand why. With his talk titled The Leap to Abundance, he's here to challenge your thinking, make you laugh, and definitely leave you with a new perspective on what's possible. Please welcome, let's see some happy fingers for Mr. Greg Jameson.
You've built something real, a career, a reputation, maybe even a business. But now it feels like the ground is shifting, like you're standing at the edge of something massive, like you're supposed to suddenly master AI or risk being left behind. And let's be honest, you're not just afraid that AI is going to take your job. You're afraid that it will reveal that your job maybe wasn't that valuable to begin with. That hits hard. But fear is feedback. It means you're paying attention. And if you're scared right now, good. Your fear is warranted. But it's not a signal to retreat. It's a signal to engage. Fear simply means that you're standing at the edge of something bigger. I know that feeling because I've literally been pushed off the edge. For my 60th birthday, my kids thought it would be hilarious to throw me out of a plane. Technically, it was skydiving. But let me tell you, when you're strapped to a stranger and the door opens up at 14,000 feet, it doesn't feel like a hobby. It feels like insanity. Just before the jump, the guy next to me says, "Yeah, I just got out of maximum security prison. I want to feel alive again." Great. I had already signed a waiver saying that the company didn't carry any insurance and I couldn't sue them for any reason whatsoever. My instructor says, "We're going to go on three. One, two," and he pushes me out before I can argue. We flipped and we fall. And then silence. No noise, no fear, just Pikes Peak off in the distance, the Royal Gorge below us, and pure bliss. Then he hands me the controls, and suddenly I wasn't just falling, I was flying, choosing where to go, steering the descent. And that's what's on the other side of fear. It's not panic, it's not failure, it's peace, it's potential, it's power. And that's what this is all about. Not AI, not technology, choice. The choice to stop hesitating, the choice to stop waiting and feel ready, the choice to move, especially when it's uncomfortable. Because fear is just the doorway. And on the other side, abundance. Let me tell you what happened when I brought that mindset home and how it changed everything. Back in college, I was on the CSU ski team, doing everything I could to keep up with the guys who had been carving turns since they were toddlers. I didn't start skiing until I was a teenager, and let me tell you, that gap mattered. So when I became a dad, I made a decision. If my kids could walk, they could ski. It became a family joke, but it worked. They grew up fearless, confident, dropping into double black diamond chutes like they were playground slides. Then one day I got a little overconfident myself. Huge jump, shattered my knee. I couldn't walk for 6 months. When I finally started hobbling around again, my sons looked at me and said, uh, Dad, if you can walk, you can ski. And that hit me because it wasn't just about skiing, it was about everything: business, life, and now AI. If you can walk, you can ski. If you can think, you can dream. If you can dream, you can build. And if you're scared, you're probably right where you need to be. I've seen that same kind of fearlessness in action in people much younger than me, too. Take Brooke, for example. She was our teenage neighbor who used to pet sit for us when we would go on vacation. And one day she knocks on the door and says, I can't pet sit for you anymore. I'm a TikTok influencer. I laughed. I was getting fired by a teenager. I asked her how many followers she had. About 12 million. What? I almost fell on the floor. I looked her up. It was true. Today she's got 38 million followers, 8 million YouTube subscribers, her own shop, brand deals, and more money than most adults make in their lifetime. And she's barely old enough to vote. Brooke didn't wait to be qualified. She didn't wait for permission. She just started. And that's what an abundance mindset looks like. It's not about being ready, it's about being willing. And right now, the biggest test of that mindset is AI. Because AI doesn't just challenge your skills, it challenges your very identity. It forces you to ask, what do I really bring to the table? And that's where most people freeze. But here's the shift. AI is a multiplier. It multiplies who you already are. If you're mediocre, AI makes you faster at being mediocre. If you're brilliant, AI can make you unstoppable. People keep asking, is AI going to replace me? Wrong question. The real question is, would anybody notice if it did? AI doesn't just automate work, it exposes value or the lack of it. But let's look at what it's doing right now. It's helping doctors personalize treatments, helping students learn faster, helping small businesses punch way above their weight, and it's even helping speakers fine-tune their delivery before they hit the stage. Experts say that AI will create over 100 million new jobs in the next 5 years. This isn't science fiction. It's happening, and it's happening fast. But when change shows up, most people default to loss. Loss of control, loss of certainty, loss of value. That's a scarcity mindset. Scarcity says this is going to take away from me. Abundance says this is going to amplify me. The people who thrive in times of disruption don't think in terms of fear. They think in terms of leverage. They see AI not as a threat, but as a multiplier of time, of talent, of reach, of leverage, and impact. Innovation doesn't always look like bleeding edge tech. Sometimes it just looks like paying attention. I had a friend, Mark, who took his family to a new restaurant, and the waiter said, Can I get you anything? Mark looks at him and says, Yeah, booster chair. The waiter goes, We've got Heineken and Coors and Michelob on tap. Mark laughs and goes, No, for my kid to sit on. While he's waiting, he writes at the bottom of the menu, Booster Chair Ale, $7.95, with little umlauts over it to make it look like some fancy imported beer. The waiter comes back and cracks up. A few weeks later, Mark went back to the same restaurant, and the waiter's like, the owner needed to make copies of the menu, and he grabbed the one that you had written on, and now everybody wants Booster Chair Ale. But instead of turning that into something fun, something sellable, they did nothing. They saw it as a joke instead of a brand. They saw it as a problem instead of a possibility. Now they're out of business. They miss the moment. Don't let that be you. Because here's the truth: opportunities don't wait, moments pass. And if you're not ready to scale when the moment hits, you miss it. But what if you could be ready? What if your expertise could show up even when you're not in the room? What if you could multiply your impact without multiplying your hours? That's why I built one of my favorite AI tools, your digital twin. But I don't call it that. I call it your replicator coach because it's your best self on demand. Imagine this: someone uploads a video of themselves speaking, selling, or practicing some sports skill. And instead of waiting days for feedback, they get instantly coached by you. Not a generic AI, but a system trained on your voice, your methods, and your coaching style. Even better, they see your face, your replicator coach, delivering the feedback. We feed it your videos, your frameworks, your documents, and your tone, so it feels like you're right there with them. It doesn't replace you, it represents you. Because this isn't about replacing humans with machines, it's about amplifying the humans who are already great. And that's why I help entrepreneurs scale their value, not just their content. You've got something to teach, something the world needs. And if you're still trading time for money, it's time to stop playing small. So if you're wondering what the next step is, let's build your replicator coach. Let's turn your expertise into something scalable. Let's make sure that when your moment comes, you're ready, ready to scale, ready to shine, ready to leap. This is your skydiving moment.